Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko. This is their part number 303DS. This is a piece of, this would be called perimeter gasketing. They also list it as an Astragal, and that's certainly possible that you would use this as an Astragal when you would install it. And by the way, this is just a 6-inch sample type piece. But it's also possible that you would see it as an Astragal, although it'd be called a split Astragal actually. Although using a bulb type would be atypical for an Astragal application, I would think this would be really best used as perimeter gasketing. Astragals need to have an insert that will somewhat mesh together or be compliant with each other, and a couple of bulbs I don't think are really going to be the best long-term solution when you want to achieve a constant seal or contact between the two items. It can be used for that, but perimeter gasketing is what you would use this for. So the 303 is representative of this profile. The D stands for the Dark Bronze Anodized finish, and the S stands for this silicone, this black silicone insert. A hallmark of silicone is that it is incredibly flexible in extreme temperatures and very effective in exceptionally warm temperatures. I would use silicone when I had an extremely hot sort of application. Think of the southeast in August, the doors on a roof of a power generation plant. Okay, hot in August. I would use silicone for there. They want to be able to, they do weather strip doors like that to prevent just that, triple digit heat from coming in. I think silicone would be great for that. I would also use silicone when I wanted a lower compression force. It's pliable, it's supple, silicone is soft and agreeable, okay, and will retain its shape as well. Those are the areas I would use this in. What's nice about the 303 is it has this flap that comes back here, okay, so that when you install this onto the door, you actually have some seal that's behind the material as well. So in this aluminum that's relatively thin, although it doesn't bend easily, any sort of imperceptible bellying that you have between the screw points, that flap that's back there is going to help any sort of intrusion from coming from the backside. It's really a good feature on door sweeps. You'll see it from Pemko. They'll have a flap that comes in from the backside. This would be a great option. The silicone would be in a 303. Very typical common profile for perimeter gasketing, but the silicone versus vinyl is a great upgrade. It's very typical that you're going to have material, the insert will fatigue and fail. The aluminum holder's just fine, but that vinyl will degrade with exposure to ultraviolet, and silicone is all but impervious to that. And the 303 is available in different inserts. Silicone would be a great choice versus vinyl, that's for sure. So there is some dimensional information below this video. Let's switch to the screen view and take a look. So this is the item that we're looking at here, and this is listed in the site in lots of different lengths before we get to the dimensional properties. You can order this in, we have it listed from 2 foot to 8 foot lengths. You can order any length that you want. The length of the item is going to be directly related to the cost of shipping. When you get longer than 7 foot, the cost goes up drastically because of the surcharges applied on longer length boxes. But the point is, if you have a need for a custom length, let's say you're going to order a 36-inch length and you wanted it to be 35 3/4, indicate that in the comment field here. Ship this item at 35 3/4. You get the point. Then you click add to cart and you'll be in good shape. Length, the replacement insert is the S3, and you can do that in BL or W, black or white. Rigid jam weather strip shown mounted on openings with 1/16 of an inch gaps. However, each weather strip can seal gaps up to its depth of its seal. And there's the depth of its seal. 7/8 on the aluminum holder portion, and then 1/4 inch on the projection of the seal, and that's spot on. that matches what we have here in our hands. If this was the genuine article, it would have been punched with holes 6" on center, and we'll go over the hole when we switch back to the camera view. Product brochure is here. Okay, the 303 is available in a silicone and a Pemko preen, which is a type of synthetic rubber, a little bit smaller, less flexible, and then vinyl. People would select vinyl when cost was the most important factor. Mill aluminum, bright dip gold, clear anodized aluminum, dark bronze anodized aluminum, gold anodized aluminum, painted white, and satin nickel would be the finishes that you could do on this material, on the aluminum portion anyway. And then looking at the rest of the page, you'll see other variations of perimeter gasketing and continuing on down through. This may be more appropriate, this sort of knifed edge, thin-edged material for an Astragal. I just don't think a bulb would be very appropriate. Pile or bristle would be very appropriate as well when used as an Astragal. You get into gasketing that is angled like this, that's very appropriate for perimeter gasketing, gives you a great amount of surface area. Material, when it gets this large, can actually consider to be used by some as a stop. If you had windows, custom wood windows, maybe in a facade of a restaurant, and in the summertime you wanted to open those up, but you might be able to use the gasketing simply as the stop of the material. That might be worth a consideration. I know that other people have done it. You can do an inserted Q-lon style into an aluminum holder. This V-shaped is very effective as well because, again, the amount of surface area that you're getting contact with, and then just really large pieces of material inserts like this. That's a sponge neoprene. That would be very appropriate for acoustical attenuation. You want to keep the sound down with a sponge neoprene. Installation instructions, that's basically going to just tell us cut, measure, cut to size, install. Not too much to talk about in that regard. You might want to consider mitering the material at the header and the jamb intersection. Most people certainly do not do that. I would certainly want it done if it was my installation. I would want to miter the material to get the best sort of coverage possible, because you're inherently going to have a loss in coverage at some point if you don't miter the material. So be mindful that you can consider doing that. Link to the manufacturer's page is here. Now that's very handy because it will allow you to review not only all of the Pemko items that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog is here. Prior versions of the documentation are here as well. The link to the A117.1 document, which is the handicap code for accessible buildings, and why it's appropriate here is because thresholds are very much governed by what can and cannot be done in terms of their overall height and the rate at which they increase in height as well. So if you're doing public work, you'll want to review the section when it comes to thresholds, certainly at a minimum. Let's switch back to the camera view and wrap up this video. Now, going over those dimensions, as we saw earlier, they have 7/8 on the aluminum portion. That makes sense. And then another 1/4 inch for the insert. So about 1 3/8 is what we would be expecting on this material. Okay, the slotted holes, they would certainly occur at those 6-inch centers. If you ordered a custom length, we would locate that first slotted hole at the proper distance from the edge, and then the proper center to center down the way. You'll want to obviously preserve those slotted holes, because when you're installing perimeter gasketing, the ability to tailor the exact projection of the weather stripping on the jamb is crucial. It'll allow you to achieve a positive seal. It will allow you to not encumber the door to where it can no longer get itself latched as well. So be mindful of that. Speaking of those holes, screws would be included in a complementary finish as well. Very nice quality item from Pemko. If you've not seen their catalog of weather stripping items, you'll certainly want to review it, as no single manufacturer has the absolute diversity of product that Pemko does. Nobody carries as many different variations of everything that Pemko does, so be mindful to familiarize yourself with their catalog if you deal with weather stripping, even on a very infrequent basis. If you have any questions on the Pemko 303DS, or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.